Rockstars, and holy moly, is that dang Spot holy. Like, what the hell is up with that anyway? Like, how do the Spot's powers work in Across the Spider-Verse? And how do have Spot's powers worked in the Marvel comics of the past? Well, lucky for you, two experts in how to control your holes are here right in front of you in the form of myself and the lovely Whitney Van Lanningham. What's going on, Whitney?
Ah, yeah, man. We are experts on holes, so tune in.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do those 4 years of college for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
For nothing.
Let's talk all about holes. And the holes of one person named Jonathan On. What a weird name. But yeah, I'm going to be hitting you guys with the facts about movie Spot first, and then Whitney's going to take over with the breakdown of all things comic book Spot, because she is the comic book maestro over here. Teamwork makes the dream work. Across the Spider-Verse is all about teamwork. So like, that's why we're doing this, man. Like, I'm Miles, you are Gwen. Unless you want to be Miles and I can be Gwen.
Oh man, no, absolutely. I mean, whatever you want, dude. Either way is very cool with me. They're both very cool people.
All right, gang, let's talk about Spot from Across the Spider-Verse, because this dude has a chaotically dark power set. Because as we learn in the movie, Spot used to be a scientist at Alchemax named Jonathan On, who works closely with one Olivia Octavius to complete Kingpin's multi-dimensional super collider. And it looks like the role that Liv gave Jonathan in the super collider project involved him discovering the mysteries of this strange black goo in a jar. But what is this black goo? Well, every time the super collider is turned on in both movies, a weird blob of dark matter starts to grow in the middle. And this blob of dark matter is the very portal to the Spider-Verse that Kingpin and Doc Ock wanted to open in order to find variants of Kingpin's family across the multiverse. And we first see this dark matter portal in action when the Green Goblin of Earth 1610 shoves Chris Pine, Peter Parker's head, into the portal, and he gets a face-to-face view with the webs of the Spider-Verse itself, all while the Super Collider locks in onto Peter Parker's spider DNA and then brings Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, and the rest of the Spider Gang to Miles's universe. However, when the Super Collider exploded at the end of Into the Spider-Verse, a container with a sample of a dark matter portal cracked open, releasing all that dark matter onto Jonathan's body, dramatically transforming him into the chaotic being known as the Spot, looking like a whole cow. Mostly because those dark matter spots appear to have drastically corrupted Jonathan's mind and amplified his negative emotions, you know, very much feeding off of Jonathan's negative emotional state. Kind of like Spider-Man with the Venom symbiote or Wanda Maximoff with the Darkhold. The power of darkness seems to have that effect across all of Marvel media. But another side effect the power of darkness also tends to make wielders experience is an overwhelming sense of emptiness. An emptiness Spot tells Miles that he's trying to fill with more holes. I think that's a lesson for everybody. Don't fill your emptiness with more holes, okay? Just get a therapist. You don't need more holes.
You can't put a bunch of holes inside of a hole. That's not how holes work.
Exactly.
It's a hole, and you gotta fix it. You either gotta fix it or you die, because otherwise it's too many holes.
Yeah, you don't fill a hole with more holes, okay? You just make more hole.
Remember that we said this.
Right? Just put it on a shirt. Wanda actually opens up about how her dark chaos powers influence her emotions to everyone's favorite boner in WandaVision, because she experienced a very similar sense of emptiness.
I only remember feeling completely alone, just endless nothingness.
But anyways, because of the emotional sensitivity of Spot's powers, his dark matter portals are extremely responsive to his fear and also his anger. And we see this exemplified best when he first comes across Miles Morales during his incredibly daring ATM heist at the start of the movie.
Spider-Man!
And then later when Spot tells Miles how they created each other at the ruins of Kingpin's Collider. He actually got so angry that he lost all of his dark matter spots, which causes him to build a mini super collider just so he can collect more dark matter spots to become the ultimate nemesis for Miles Morales. However, it appears that the more dark matter he absorbs, the more mentally unstable and completely unreasonable Spot becomes, which now makes Spot an unhinged, massive multiversal threat of darkness, much like Wanda was in Multiverse of Madness. But that's just movie Spot. What about the original Spot from the comics, Whitney?
Oh man,
about that.
We gotta talk about the Spot from the comics, because he has a completely different origin story than what we see in Across the Spider-Verse. In 616, Dr. Jonathan's on life isn't forever changed because he gets bopped in the noggin by a bagel, but in fact, he kind kinda sorta did this to himself. Back in 1982's Spectacular Spider-Man Volume 1, issue number 98, Dr. On was a scientist working in Kingpin's laboratory, attempting to artificially mimic the vigilante Cloak's dark dimensional powers in hopes that it might heal Wilson Fisk's wife Vanessa. His goal was to reproduce Cloak's extremely high radiation level to then ultimately replicate his exact powers. Although he succeeded in matching the levels of radiation, his equipment caused a citywide power outage, and the wavelength of the radiation produced was altered. A large black circular portal appeared in the lab, and Dr. Johnny realizes that he may never get another chance to explore this scientific reaction. You know that saying, curiosity killed the cat? Here it's more like curiosity made the scientist climb into an alternate dimension and permanently altered his abilities and appearance.
I know how that is. I know how that be.
You know how that is.
Sometimes.
You know when sometimes you're just like, I gotta see what's in this hole. And then you go, and then you completely change everything about who you are as a man. Man,
Yeah.
if I had a nickel for every time that happened to me.
STDs, am I right? Not great. Anyways.
After climbing through the spot portal, Dr. Johnny wakes up in a black and white polka dot dimension and assumes that he must be inside of Cloak's dark dimension. He quickly realizes, however, that his experiment plus the blackout opened a portal to a realm of darkness and light. The inside of the in-between dimension has a weightless atmosphere, and Dr. On has to do a little swimmies to propel himself towards a familiar-looking portal. He's just going like this, and he's like, oh, I'll get there someday. I believe in myself. Interestingly, he can recognize the difference between his different portals instantly, allowing him to remerge in 616. Unlike the version of the Spot in ATSV, the comic book version embraces his new identity almost immediately. When he pops back into his own reality looking like a freakish Dalmatian, he plays around with his new spots like they're a brand new Lego set on Christmas morning. He doesn't waste any time being bummed out about losing his face. He gets right to work thinking about how he can use them to defeat any superhero in any part of the multiverse. Specifically, he decides to focus on Spider-Man, not due to a bagel grudge, but because he knows how powerful our stickiest hero is. Fun fact! Fun fact! In the comics, Dr. Jonathan On changes his name to The Spot because it's a pun on the phrase Johnny on the Spot, which means a readily available person, which is a very fitting name.
I love that.
Dude, it's a fitting name because he has hundreds of spots like on the ready that he can just be like, I'm Johnny on the spot. I'm Johnny on the spot, and I'm throwing my spots, and there's gonna be spots inside my spots.
Dalmatian.
And holes in my holes. That's how you be.
Holes inside of holes. That's the Johnny On way.
The Johnny On way. Holes on holes.
And look, guys, Father's Day is coming up fast. And if you want to get your father a gift that he'll use every day, you should check out Ridge. Ridge has reinvented the wallet, and it's a massive improvement over the bulky dad wallets of yesteryear. The Ridge wallet is slim, but expands to hold up to 12 cards plus cash. Ridge wallets come in over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber, burnt titanium, forged ember, and burnt Damascus. Plus, these wallets are designed with the 21st century in mind. Each wallet is built with RFID blocking materials that protect your info from digital pickpockets, and has an optional AirTag attachment so you'll never lose your wallet again. Find the best Father's Day gift by going to ridge.com/newrockstars right now, and you can save up to 40% through June 15th. That is ridge.com/newrockstars. We thank Ridge for sponsoring this video and for protecting my money.
While playing around with his new personal portals, the Spot discovers that he can remove spots from his body, suspend them midair, and even change their shapes and sizes. In future comics, he even finds a way to form portals into solid orbs for him to perch on mid-battle, like a little cat. He's like a little cat on the head of a chair, and it's real sweet.
I love it.
Most importantly, he learns that he can step into one spot and emerge instantly from another, even if his exit is in a different reality than his point of entry. Knowing how powerful his holes are, he decides to hide his abilities from Kingpin, which is generally a smart thing to do if you have any abilities. Don't tell Kingpin.
Always hide your holes from Kingpin.
Don't show Kingpin your holes. Bad things happen. The Spot strategically places his portals around town, giving him the element of surprise in future fights. But when he finally meets Spider-Man, our favorite webbed hero just makes fun of him exactly like Miles does in ATSV. Peter Parker also just kind of thinks he's like a big loser.
I love how Spider-Man's just like a little bully, and like Spot calls him out on this.
It's because he was a nerd who got bullied, and now that he has cool powers and abs, he's like, well, I guess I'm just gonna bully this scientist now.
He's like, like Spot is like, yo, you forgot where you came from, man. Let's be nerds together.
Let's
Why
be
you gotta
nerds
be mean?
together. Why are you doing this? let's just be friends. But the Spot's lack of physical strength doesn't hold him back at all in his early days. When the ability to sneak attack anyone by popping in and out of the polka dot dimension at will, he can dodge, disappear, and reappear so quickly that Spider-Man and other heroes can't get him to stay in one place long enough to counterstrike. Spidey is definitely a lot more intimidated by him once the Spot drags him into the in-between realm and forces him out of a different portal than the one that he entered. He can technically pull anyone into the dimension with him, where they're at his mercy to find the right escape route. In future comics, the Spot grows much stronger with experience, even besting Jessica Jones and Captain Marvel at one point in his villain career. I didn't know that you could get the jump on Carol Danvers, but he gets the jump on Carol Danvers.
That is bananas.
He just pops her in the nose.
I gotta read that.
Just pops her right in the kisser, right in the little snoot. His now you see me, now you don't tricks are especially effective when he's fighting multiple opponents, because he can easily use his spots to punch his adversaries through space and time. Not only has he taken on an entire room of assassins at once, he even reached through a portal and sliced Bucky's vibranium arm clean off of his body. He straight up, he went into a portal, Bucky's arm is there, and he's just like, shing, and like gets him.
Damn, that's crazy.
And you would think that his ability to steal prosthetic limbs would make Rocket Raccoon his best friend, but no, Rocket actually just likes to mess with him by firing a gun at one of his spots and then watching all the bullets spray out of his other spots. So you just see he's like a bullet fountain.
Element. I can totally see him do that. That's hilarious.
Rocket's just like, what happens if I do this? And I'm like, oh, you silly, silly little furry man. I love you.
This is why we don't give raccoons guns.
When the Spot realizes that Kingpin is about to discover his secret identity, he quickly figures out how to hide his bizarre new appearance. He concentrates on consolidating all of his spots into one large spot on his tummy. This means that Dr. On can still look totally normal whenever he wants to, unlike the Spot from Across the Spider-Verse. He can even group several spots in one place, reducing the amount of white space on his body, which makes it harder for any hero to land a single blow.
Wow, so blackface, interesting. Spot is canceled. I'm telling you, I'm announcing it right now. Spot is canceled. I saw that blackface in the movie. I see you, Spot. You're canceled.
When Spider-Man's fist collides with the back of Spot's head, it simply disappears into one of his portals without even hurting him at all. Combining his holes to form bigger portals becomes one of his go-to maneuvers when it comes to dodging attacks. When Spider-Man tries to capture him with a web net, the Spot simply forms a portal large enough to just swallow the webs. We've also seen Spot use his portal to vacuum suck his opponents into the polka dot dimension out of thin air. After being experimented on by the Coyote, the Spot gains the ability to grow multiple limbs and sprout them from his various portals.
Nightmare fuel. Great.
It's nightmare fuel, 100%. The thing that I find the most fascinating about the Spot is his inability to stay dead. This dude has been murdered at least 3 times, and somehow he always manages to come back to life off page. First, his neck is snapped by Tombstone, but he's later resurrected by the Hand. Unfortunately, Wolverine stabs him through the gut like 5 minutes into his mission. Somehow he's brought back once again and joins MODOK's villain supergroup, although he was definitely the least popular member by far. When he tries to double-cross MODOK, the Mandarin accepts his offerings, then locks him inside his own polka dot dimension. Like most of us did during the pandemic, the Spot goes absolutely batshit stir-crazy from being alone for so long and starts concentrating on his escape. At first, he's only able to project faint images of himself into 616, but eventually breaks through to the other side by focusing on reuniting with his son Wyatt. Most recently, in issue number 3 of 2022's Carnage Volume 3, Carnage completely dismembered and beheaded the Spot, ripping his limbs apart like tissue paper, just arm here, leg here, meh, just totally.
He doesn't need those.
He just rips him mouth to butthole, just everything gone. No more head, no more anything. But even with his head disconnected from his body, he vows that he'll eventually return to life using the spotted dimension. He's currently dead in the comics, but with the character's resurgence in the Sony Spider-Verse, my guess is that he'll come back to life like real soon. But that's all of the Spot's powers. That's all Spot's powers in the comics. Those were all his powers in the movies.
Yeah.
We did it!
Those are all Spot's powers in a nutshell. We did it!
We did
solved the Spot.
We saw
and
Spot.
explained all of Spot's powers. But like, I really hope that we see like all these like weird, freakish, like powerful versions of Spot in the sequel because,
dude, seriously,
like, I feel like we're gonna see some crazy shit out of Spot.
Once he like gains his confidence, he's kind of unstoppable, and that's like the one thing that his comic version has is like the confidence to be like, yeah, f Kingpin, I'm gonna go do my own thing. I'm gonna form my own supervillain shit, and I'm gonna go to a different reality and get away from my boss.
But yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video. You guys are amazing. Thank you to the wonderful Whitney Van Lanningham for her amazing comic book information on the Spot. Follow her at Whitney Puppy. You can follow me at MasterTainment, but most importantly, you can follow New Rockstars wherever we are on the internet, especially here on YouTube, and subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis and everything that you love. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye.